Hi, and welcome to another HC Media Group training course. So today I'm going to teach you about how to motivate your team and to share some top tips on how you can be really effective at this. My name is Joe Hamilton and I'm an award-winning author in business. And by this I mean, yes, I've got a book out there on digital marketing, as I'm sure you've gathered, out there on the wonderful Amazon. The book is called, wait for it, Cake. Yeah, that's right, it's called Cake. And why, I hear you say, has he called it Cake? And for me, I just wanted to play on the title a little bit, and because the book conjures up and it's got all the ingredients rolled into one that you'll need to be an effective marketeer. And that's why I called it. That's why I called it Cake. Really is a good read if you're looking to find out a little bit more about digital marketing, how it works, how to be successful at it, etc., etc. Then please dig it out. It's on Amazon and it's called Cake. I'm also the managing director of a company called HC Media Group. So we're the fastest growing marketing agency in Essex. I started the business in 2018 and we're based in Colchester, and moved into our offices, which is not far from the castle, in April 19. And since then, we have been in that office environment, and the fact that it's very, very productive as opposed to where we were previously. Our business has just gone from strength to strength. And as I say, we're the fastest growing marketing agency now in Essex, something that we're really, really proud of. But before that, I've managed over, 200 retail stores, looking after business management, so everything from improving culture, motivating and developing teams, into HR, being looking at recruitment and retention, and more importantly the finance of individual stores, individual businesses and areas even. Looking at introducing effective and efficient practices, and all designed to drive the profitability of each store and increase that bottom line profit. So my specialism is growing businesses through finance and business management, and that's why I've taken on a role of training as far as HC Media Group is concerned, and being able to train, share, and give back some of the knowledge and experience that I currently have, and be able to share it in the form of a training environment. I've worked for several household names who you may be familiar with. Whitbread, for instance, I started off them many years ago, Whitbread Inns. Moving quickly along then to Thresher, where I started off in Romford with Thresher Wine Shops. So Thresher Wine Shops was the largest off-license chain within the UK back in the 80s. As I say, I started off in a smallish store in Romford. There was 10 of us in there, and it soon became a flagship store and one of the most profitable stores within the business, which was tremendous to be a part of. And because of that, I wanted to share my experience with other stores across the country. And I became an area manager for Thresher. And before I left, I was then a regional manager looking after a number of area managers. And then decided, you know what, perhaps I could share some of this knowledge and experience with other businesses in the UK. And because of that, I wanted to, as I say, share the knowledge that I had. I moved into being an area manager at Co-op, who you may be familiar with. Really, really good business to work for, with them for a number of years, again, as an area manager. Before just recently joining Well. I've been with Well for 11 years as an area manager. So Well are a pharmacy chain with stores up and down the country. Really, really good business to work for. My area was Essex and North London. 25 stores, 260 staff, as well as all the trials and tribulations of managing stores in and around that area. But again, the area really successful stores, and then thought, okay, perhaps I can do this then for myself. I had the knowledge, the experience, and the will, passion, and the desire to be able to set up HC Media Group, which is what we've done. Apart from that, I've worked for several smaller businesses on a consultancy basis. So, some are small has only had 5 and 6 employees. But again, they've asked me in to look at their business model, look at the culture within their business, look at the finance, and introducing some, again, effective, efficient practices to drive the bottom line profitability of those stores. So that's something that I really, really enjoyed, as I say, on a consultancy basis. So if you'd like to get in touch with me directly, just to have a chat on a one-to-one basis, then please do. It'd be great to talk to you. Just email me at team@hcmediagroup.co.uk. That's team@hcmediagroup.co.uk. It would be great to talk to you. So, on with our training, and this training is around motivation and how do we motivate employees. And there are several reasons why employee motivation is so important. And the main one for me is because it allows you as a business owner to meet your company goals. If your team are motivated to do a good job, then you will, without a doubt, achieve your company goals. And motivated employees can lead to increased productivity, so they don't mind going the extra mile. And this allows an organisation to achieve higher levels of output purely because your team are switched on and motivated to do the job. Rather than clock watch, they'll stay until the job is completed. And that's the power of motivated employees. And on the flip side of that, imagine having an employee who's not motivated. The power and the impact of that could bring down your whole business. So it's really important that we get this right, and that I share with you today and teach you today how to motivate your team. So for me, there's 9 effective ways to motivate your team, and we'll go through each of these in a little bit more detail. But as I say, the way that we motivate our team at HC Media encompasses all 9 of these particular ways to motivate your team. And pay your people what they're worth. This is really, really important. So when you set your employees' salaries, hourly rates, whatever it may be sure that your pay is consistent with what other companies in the industry are paying. And the last thing you want is to be, under the pay grade of everybody else, because that will just demotivate the rest of your team. There was a survey done where it said 26% of engaged employees, right? These are people that are really, really switched on, that they would leave their current job for just a 5% increase in pay. That's huge. So don't lose great people just because you're underpaying them. And sometimes, as you say, it might just be as simple as a 5% pay increase. So it's really important to get your pay structure correct. For us, we like to provide a pleasant place to work. Work is bad enough to have to go to on a daily basis. However, if you go to your workplace or an office environment that's unpleasant to work for, then the day becomes really long and really laborious. And everyone wants to work in an office environment that's sort of clean, stimulating, and makes them feel good about themselves instead of being unproductive. And again, honestly, you don't have to spend a lot of money to make an office more pleasant. Like, it can be cleaned on a regular basis, something as simple as that. So the desks are polished, and there's a nice smell of polish when they come in the morning times. And if you need to, from time to time, buy lunch. Because again, that's a pleasant place to work. It's a nice surprise. If there's a nice fragrant aroma in the office itself, is fabulous. And this time of year, open the windows, get some fresh air through, and honestly, it really does make a difference. So creating a pleasant place to work is really, really important. Offer opportunities for self-development. So we're forever doing this. The members of your team will be much more valuable to your business and to themselves when they have opportunities to learn new skills. So I've put into place where I have a review of every member of the staff on a monthly basis. And the review is around how they're performing, of course, but additionally, is there any other training that we can put into place that would enable that individual to be better at their job? So being able to identify their strengths and weaknesses, share some of their strengths with some of the other teams, with some of the other members within the team, and work on their weaknesses and put plans in place and development in place to be able to bring them up to speed. Providing your team with the training that they need to develop their careers and become knowledgeable about the latest technologies and industry news it will have a tremendous impact on your business, and allowing them the time to be able to do that. And our mantra would be train your people so well that they can leave, but you treat them well enough that they don't want to. So don't be afraid to train your people. It is really, really important. People generally don't leave businesses or don't leave organizations. They leave because other people enable them to leave, or for lack of development. That's really important to remember. Train them up so they can leave if they want to, but treat them well enough so they don't want to. And encourage collaboration within the team. So according to weekdawn.com, done a survey to say 39% of employees don't feel that their input is appreciated. Christ, that is huge. So again, we encourage our team to be creative, to come up with ideas. We share goals, we share our objectives with the team on where the business is headed, and we're not afraid to ask our team, how would we do this? What can we do different that will give us a different result in a more effective or efficient way? Because as business owners, we don't necessarily always have the answers, and sometimes a nugget will come from a member of staff, an idea that perhaps will just change the dynamic, not only of the team, but maybe of the business also. So encourage the members of your team to fully participate, and invite their input and suggestions on how, as I say, things can be done differently and maybe things can be done better. Don't be afraid to ask the question. Listen to their answers, and if you can, implement some of their solutions, implement some of their ideas. Because if an individual feels that they've contributed to the success of your business, the message out there is powerful to everybody else. And that way, they have a clear understanding of the goals, they have a clear understanding of why they need to do a particular task, and more importantly, they'll be clear on the role that they play. So please foster collaboration within the team. And encourage happiness. I know it sounds simple. I know it sounds simple, but happy employees are enthusiastic, positive members of the team, and their attitude is infectious. Believe you me. We all have our bad days. We all have our down days, but not everyone has them at the same time. So happy employees and enthusiastic employees will bring up everybody else because, as I say, it is infectious. But keep an eye on whether or not your people are happy with their work. And again, what we do is on a monthly basis, I will have that conversation with individuals just to make sure they are happy in the work that they're currently doing. And I do have an open door policy, which suggests that they can come to me at any time with any issues or any concerns. And I'm not afraid to be able to ask a member of staff, how would you like to be managed differently? What could I do different to manage you more effectively? And you'll be surprised at the level of return that you get from that from that question. Okay, so as I say, as a business owner, you can't allow and you can't count on unhappiness to spread within the workforce. It has a detrimental effect on your business. And in relation to that is remember to not punish failure. So, crikey, we all make mistakes. And it's part of being human. As I say that, it is part of being human. And the key is to learn some valuable lessons from those mistakes so as we don't make them again. You can't ridicule someone for failure, and particularly in a team environment, because that just sends negativity, not only to the individual, but to the rest of the team also. When members of your team make honest mistakes, encourage them to try again. So, okay, it's a mistake. We're human. We move on. What have we learned from it? And more importantly, what can a team do to help and support you? So don't punish failure. In actual fact, people learn from failure. Set clear goals. In one study, believe it or not, 63% of employees reported that they wasted time at work because they weren't aware of what work was a priority and what wasn't. And this is just a clear example of communication from a business owner to a team member, or indeed to a team. You may have the idea in your head, but you need to get it across to everybody in a clear and concise manner so everyone's fully aware. And don't be afraid to ask the question. So, what have you understood about my communication? Why does it need to be completed that way? So you're checking understanding. Everybody understands what needs to be achieved because there's a consistent message, and people can't interpret it the way they want to themselves, because you have checked the understanding of the individual or the team, whoever you're communicating to at that time. And as a leader, it's your job to work with the members of your team, as I say, to set some clear goals. And once you do this, make sure everyone knows exactly what these goals are. As I say, don't be afraid to ask the question, what's your understanding? Additionally, identify what the team's role is in reaching them, and set aside some timelines. That way you hold everybody accountable. And if it means that you have to do a review of where we are, then do that, because at least then you'll understand and you'll know how close you are to achieving your goals. As I say, check understanding to ensure everyone is clear of the goals and the role that they play in successfully delivering these. Everybody wants to contribute to the success of your business, but if they're unclear, you will get the productivity won't be as high or won't be as efficient. So it's really important, again, to motivate your team to set some clear goals. And don't micromanage. Crikey, we've all been in this situation, micromanage, and I have done myself. And no one likes a boss who's constantly looking over their shoulder and second guessing their every decision. And I have done it myself, where I really want the person to succeed, and because of that, I've almost smothered them in micromanagement, as opposed to just letting them get on with what they need to do. And again, another survey was saying that 38% of employees reported that they'd rather take on unpleasant activities than sit next to a micromanaging boss. That's mad, and we should be learning from that. And I have quickly learned that by micromanaging, all I'm really doing is stifling an individual or a team's creativity and performance. So by providing your people with some clear goals, as we said in number 7, then let them figure out the best way to achieve that themselves. And let them come back to you and tell you how they've overcome some of the obstacles, rather than you having to supply the solution all of the time. It's really difficult to do. It does take a bit of getting used to, but please, you do need to get into the habit of not micromanaging your team. As I say, because they will feel smothered, and as I say, you'll stifle creativity. Avoid pointless meetings. Gosh, I'm sure we've all done this. So meetings can be an incredible waste of time. And again, the average professional wastes nearly 4 hours in unproductive meetings each and every week. And it is easy to fall into that habit. Well, we have our meeting on a Monday at 9:10. We've always had it, and it lasts for an hour and a half. If you don't need to have that meeting, don't have it. And something that works really well for me is to create an agenda for your meeting. So these are the points I need to cover off, and I distribute it in advance. So everybody in that meeting, or every team member, understands what the agenda is. And I only invite people who really need to attend. There's no point in getting everybody in if you're going to talk about finance. And there's no point in getting the creativity people involved if, for instance, you're talking about distribution. And I must admit, I have learned I do start my meeting on time and then end it as quickly and as possibly as you can. If I say it's going to run for an hour, then guess what? It only runs for an hour. And that way you create that culture and that value around when you have meetings, you stay on point, stick on point, and finish on time. Really, really important. So I've got a task for you. So before moving on, review your pay structure. So take a look at how much you're paying people, and just balance that up against how much your competitors are paying some of their people as well. And look at providing a pleasant place to work. So as I said, it doesn't need to cost a fortune. It just needs to be clean, tidy, nice fragrance, etc., etc. Set some clear goals for your team, and this could be in the form of an incentive. And again, further on in our training course, we have a training course on incentive, how to set it up, etc., etc. And ask yourself, do I really need to have this meeting, or am I having a meeting just for meeting's sake? Trust your team to get on with their role and don't micromanage. It's really difficult to do it initially if you've been used to micromanaging. To be able to sit on your hands and not offer the solution is really quite difficult, but it does reap rewards. And just above all, encourage happiness in your place of work. And this way, you will motivate your team. Believe you me, you really, really will. To talk to me about helping you with this subject, then please email me team@hcmediagroup.co.uk. That's team@hcmediagroup.co.uk. It would be great to speak to you. I hope you've enjoyed this part of the course. I've been Joe Hamilton. Thank you for listening.